Welcome to INFINTECH, charting the future of banking. Organised by Logate, your painless vendor for digital journey. In partnership with Mastercard. Together towards tomorrow.
Ja ću govoriti na engleskom, jer posljednjih 12 godina mislim da nisam imao nijednu prezentaciju na našem jeziku, tako da, ajde počnemo tako. A ima kolega koji nisu sa našeg govornog područja. So let me start a bit with so my name is Goran Marković, as already Andrea mentioned, and I'm responsible for consumer business in T-Mobile Poland. Just to give you a perspective, consumer business in T-Mobile Poland is around 2 billion euro revenues, and basically in my area it's around 3,000 employees working. So we are part of the same like Crnogorski Telecom. We are part of Deutsche Telekom Group, which is the largest telecommunication group in the world, and largest European brand in terms of the brand value. So eight in the world. So pretty interesting experiences there. I switched to Deutsche Telekom Group 4 years ago. Before that, I was in a Telenor and PPF, which you are probably familiar from our markets here. For me today, I need to reflect a bit. That was not planned as a part of presentation, because when Ivica was calling me, or Vladimir, or Vanya, who I know from when I was a kid, but I had no idea behind the email there is the same person, basically, talking with me. You stay the same height and I grew up. Yeah, that's a good one. But they were telling me we're going to talk about business models a lot. And then I was thinking I'm in a trap, whole morning, because we were discussing regulations in banking, we were discussing IT solutions, but that reminded me also on our industry very much. And there is this famous joke about what happened when you kind of merge Japanese person and Montenegrin. Yeah? So there is a person who wants to work but cannot get up from the bed. And I think us in telco and banking, after this morning also, I feel we have the same problems. We want to transform, but we just don't know how to start. And we are then talking AI, left, right, center. I also need to warn you, I'm super fast talker, probably you already noticed. So no one is using translation, and that's good, because anyway you will not understand from translation, they will not follow. But I want to say also a few words about me. So I'm that guy that you all have in the teams, when you just align on something and you want to move on, there is one person saying, sorry, I disagree, I want to do it differently. And this is this entrepreneurship which kind of is there, and I managed to survive 20 years in corporations having this type of mindset, which means either I have very tolerant bosses or I did something right till now. In this, as Andrea mentioned already, I've been to 6 countries till now, but I'm a big believer, and that's why I'll talk probably about different things today, that whatever we discuss, banking, fintech, telco, we need to talk about customers. Because at the end of the day, someone needs to pay these bills, someone needs to use these services, and I'll be talking today a little bit about that. To start with, there is always a good way to start presentation with a quote. But before the quote, I need to tell you the little story. I was recently in some training, we had it was called, I think, Mountain Wisdom or something. So you go 3 days in the woods, no connection to the outside world. And there are some trainers there. So we had a trainer called Moses, like Moses from Bible. And he was looking like that. He was like Indian guy with a John Lennon type of glasses. And what is interesting about Moses, he was actually 15 years McKinsey consultant. And McKinsey, whatever they tell you, you need to trust. And another 4 years, he was spending in a Buddhist temples in Tibet. So very spiritual. So when a guy like Moses tell you something, you ask him, what do you think about this? And he tell you, you simply need to be quiet and to say yes and to do it, right? The same goes in marketing. When you ask this guy, Richard Branson, what business is about, it's really about making connections. And probably you might ask yourself, okay, what type of connections we are discussing here about banking, telco, whatever, but we are in a business of making connections. However, connections we are making can be deep or can be very transactional. And there's a difference about, do you want to make some business out of it, or you want to stay in your business and stay always on the core, as we call it. And we all like to talk about our core, to protect our core. We have all the risk managers who are basically saying, don't trust this customer, he will trick you. On the other side, if you want to grow the business, customer need to trust you. So we need to find this gap, how to actually how to manage this. Yeah? And what we are doing, for example, and I want to build on this story. So what type of transactions we are talking about? So how many of you are happily married for more than 10 years? Good. So you know these good moments, anniversary is coming, eh? And you are coming with the flowers at home, yeah? And that's a nice thing. I think you are all probably very good people, and you are treating your partners very nicely. But the point is basically, do you bring these flowers once in a 365 days, or you are actually having the flowers throughout the year? Yeah? And this is the difference between business about having a transaction with the customer and having basically a deep connection with the customer, that you are with him throughout the journey and you are providing different contextual elements. Yes, it's hard in a telco or in banking. I think they are very similar industries. In telco and banking, your customer wants not to see you at all. Your service needs to work, and that's it. So how to make a connections? That's about reinventing a little bit the whole business model. And for example, what we do in telecom, 12 months ago, it was just yesterday was anniversary of this program. We launched this, Magenta Moments program, for example. In 8 countries, we already have approximately 5 million customers, and this number is just growing, and it will grow further because we have ambitions to go in double-digit millions very soon. 2,300 brands, 4,000 different offers or journeys for the customers there, and around 24 million transactions so far. So why this is important? You want to step out of the basic telco business, because in a telco, as I said, you need to be relevant, things need to work, customers don't want to see you. Forcing some relation beyond that doesn't make sense. Bringing some partners in who will create new experiences, new journeys, and that you are relevant in other parts of the telco business, that's very important. And that's why we are doing this. And of course, we didn't invent this. There are many industries who did this before also, but also there are very good telco examples. And I give you here a few. I don't know how much you are familiar with telco brands, but Etisalat, which is now entering even this region, it's from United Emirates. They have for some years this Smiles program, which is kind of, they call it loyalty, though it's a very strong engagement program. And this program is about building actually for users beyond telco the journeys they can enjoy. So they are one of the biggest also marketplaces in a UAE, where you can actually look for a grocery, you can look for different products. They have some surprises for the customers, and they are building the new business models out of it. The other example, and we need to talk about AI, right? Because AI is a very important thing. So the South Korean telecom, in South Korea, everything is based on AI. Even your sync is an AI one. Yeah? So it's analyzing, but I don't want to go there in these details. But in South Korean telecom, they also have subscriptions which are analyzing with the technology behind your behaviors, what you are doing, and then they are engaging partners and providing you with the offers, with the different experiences, and even charging for this. Or we have a case from our group, T-Mobile US, which is basically the most valuable telco company in the world. They are really champion of a customer experience. So they don't necessarily monetize, but I will come back to monetization of this and what we are talking about, but they are providing exceptional experiences for their customers. So when you are a T-Mobile US customer, you'll get on Tuesdays some surprises, you'll be able to attend VIP events, you'll be able to do many things as a customer throughout the journey, not only when you make a contract. Fintechs are also a great source for inspiration, and you have some of them. Probably you are all aware about Revolut, and Revolut is a disruption to the banking sector in terms of the credit cards and the payments. But more importantly, Revolut is already disturbing travel industry a bit, insurance industry. They are disturbing some other industries, because if you look at their Revolut experience, in which they are adding new products, that's fantastic what they are doing there. Because if you are a Revolut customer, you don't only have your fintech service, you have many other services around that you can pay and use very easily from Revolut. Klarna, not that known probably in our region, because now it's in US, and it was not yet, but it will enter Europe soon. It's a marketplace with a very seamless and interesting payment solutions behind. And they are loyalizing customers through these payment solutions to explore different marketplaces. So they have good price comparison sites and stuff like this. And then we all know American Express, which is kind of, and why I put it here, because they are a very good example of when you go niche. You go for a high-value premium segment and you give them very premium benefits. And those guys are very loyal and they spend much more money with you later. So why we are talking about this? And I just want to bring you a couple of numbers here, which are, unfortunately, our region is very small in all of this. But if you look at the regions, which is kind of regions in which we operate in Europe, these 9 countries, by 2030, and already this development is seen there will be 120 billion euros spent in these 5 categories: dining, online travel experiences, gift cards, commerce, ticketing. I mean, unfortunately, Montenegro is here normally in the statistical error of a 0.1, and also we have here North Macedonia or Croatia, which are also very low, so you can reflect that most of the countries in the region will be in this space. But just tapping into this potential with the right journey, because all of us have customers. In telco, we have normally 25, 30, 35% of the market. In banking, probably similar. You have banks with a share from a 10, 15, 20. So you have tons of customers. So how we build new journeys to tap into revenues which we are not having today. And that's what I want to a little bit inspire you to think about when we talk about ecosystems. That ecosystem is not like a fancy, cool word that you want to give to your business development department, and then they will actually organize one steerco and a second steerco and a third steerco, and they will not decide on anything. This is basically the way that you need to look into your business. Which other need I can serve my customer, and how can I test it and quickly move to this? So this can source some inspirations that actually numbers talk at the end of the day. And I will not be hiding this. We also have ambition to tap into these numbers. Telco business is super profitable, but we have a problem with actually having being seen by customers as a trusted partner, and we want to improve that. Today, if you look with AI, with the digitalization, everyone is fighting for attention of the customer. So if your attention is once a year to sign a telco contract, it's still a good business. Or in a banking, to sign a banking contract, good business, but you are not on the radar anymore of this customer. It's very hard to engage with him. So I would like to summarize these learnings from these all models which we discussed. What is very important? Marketplaces. It's very important that you have a wide portfolio of things that customer can do. That's what you see many of these companies exploring the marketplace concepts to be relevant and to establish more verticals and more journeys. Currency, and that's what we discussed this morning, having a payment option behind or having some type of a currency which you can exchange, loyalize, super important to monetize on these businesses because you can keep customer longer in your ecosystem. Business model. We didn't talk about profits here, but some of these companies which I mentioned, they monetize based on customers. They ask customers to subscribe, especially if they are very relevant, and they can get the subscription money. But some of them are monetizing only on a B2B side. For the partners who they're exposing to, they're actually getting share from those partners. All the third leg is advertising. So your business model can be very different. You can have 3 sources of revenues running some ecosystem. And as I mentioned, subscriptions, if you are good in what you are doing, people will pay for it. If you are now suddenly doing nothing, you have your contractual relation with the customer, and suddenly, I have an idea, I want to now start becoming a travel agent. Good luck with this. So this is what basically is very important, where you find your space to play. Which brings me to the next point, do you build all of this and try to dominate, or do you partner? I want to bring one warning, which is also from a telco industry, that, for me, it's like, building your own kingdom is good, but you also need to be relevant. And this Marrakesh Bazaar, which you see behind, and we all like to trade, so people are, for thousands of years trading, so we all like to trade, so you immediately say, we have a customer, let's sell him everything. But that doesn't work, unfortunately, especially when you have a large teams, and I can tell you that, when you need to train 3,000 salespeople to even have one new conversation with a customer, there will be probably 2,000 different conversations out of it. So it's important to stay near to where you are relevant. In our case, we are discussing 3 things, mainly on this also beyond core. We discuss handset ecosystem, because people don't want anymore today just to buy a device from the operator and then to go elsewhere to find other services. You need to have an ecosystem around. You need to have your repairs, you need to have accessories, you need to have services for devices, insurances, other things to be expert in this field. If you are not expert, they will go elsewhere. Then security services. For example, we are selling a thing which is called network security. Probably none of you would normally buy this because you don't believe this is important for you. But if your salespeople are able to say, and I guess in banking there are very similar services about storing the identity or other things. Actually, you can sell those services, and these are not small monies. In Poland, we are discussing in this security and insurance, these are hundreds of millions of euros of a profit, pure profit, with the higher touch rates. And insurance, as I mentioned, which is a natural extension. If you buy something for a home or devices, you actually want it insured. And that's an extension in which we are also heading as a telco. There are other examples. And yesterday here, Magda from Blik was here, and I bring this example from Poland. And there are two different ways to do this. Either you are expert in your own journey and you partner. And this is what's happening. And these 4 brands here that you see from Poland, they are on a European level. If you look at their Net Promoter Score, they are by far the most loved brands on European level. Blik is above Apple or Google in a way how customers perceive how much they like the service and how they basically do it. In Poland, when we do a study, NPS of Blik is here, and then comes Google and Apple and others. And then telcos and banking are here. So same is with these other guys. Allegro, it's a copy of Amazon, but such a good copy that Amazon have a 5-6% share in Poland. And they have 90+. This is e-commerce, which we'll discuss later with colleagues from Ananas. InPost delivery service. So these guys, they don't go into each other's businesses. They run their business, but they cooperate. So if you buy something on Allegro, you will pay with Blik, you will pick it up in InPost or in Żabka. If you go to, basically, Blik is like present across all of them. InPost is also using Blik to charge for their services. So they are simply interconnected and providing fantastic experience. The other example is Wizz Air. They monetize traffic. If you look at the Wizz Air revenues, I think 1/3 is already coming from a non-fare, non-ticket revenues. Because they have all this ecosystem of partners, and they are charging some fees there. They're also selling different things on the airplanes. But you will see now in Wizz Air that they're trying to become your travel agent in one. That you get into different fields. And they are very successful in some of them. So, to conclude, basically, yes, we discussed today a lot, how we manage our core. Because honestly, whole morning and some of the presentations from yesterday that I have seen, I think we are discussing how to manage our core business better. Should we add some AI? Should we digitize? These discussions we have also in telco non-stop. But if you look at this global scale and how some of these markets are big around us, and if any player of those markets is coming to us here, it will be very hard to compete, because he's coming from a 14 billion revenues market to market of 100 million revenues. So he might have a bit more people and more tools on his side to compete with you. So I would say cooperating, cohabitating, creating things together, like Blik is a fantastic example that actually banks get together to create a perfect solution for payments, which actually boomed the e-commerce business in Poland. And probably Magda was talking yesterday about this one, but Blik was a big enabler of booming this business. So I would always start with the experience, what you are trying to do. Because if we don't have customer in it, it's very hard to create any business model. Regional cooperation, for me, it's a must. These markets are all together smaller in some of this turnover. I'm talking about whole Balkan region, more or less, than one of the Central Eastern European markets. Because Czech standalone is bigger than the whole region, or Romania, or whoever. Staying relevant and close to core, let's not transform the core. Core is okay, but let's build something around, and that will maybe give us an idea what to do. And that's where we are always most afraid in telcos or in banking, don't touch. And no one is saying you should touch where your business model is. You should start to build around this, and then you will see how this grows. And have those people who disagree, because in a boardroom or somewhere, innovation is not happening. There are too many risk-averse discussions. There are 55 steer costs which are killing every idea from initiation to the end. And basically, the best way is to get the smart people, 10 of them, lock them in a room, give them some money, and let them try to build you a new business line which you want to nurture and grow to become something bigger. Thanks.